Over the years, Roblox has produced some genuinely massive YouTubers. Not just people uploading gameplay, but creators who built long-lasting communities and became a real part of the platform. But Roblox YouTube moves quickly. The focus is always on whatever's new, whatever's trending, and whoever's blowing up next. And because of that, it's easy to forget about creators who used to be everywhere. Not because they made a big retirement announcement and not because they slowly drifted away, but because after a certain point their uploads became less frequent and then stopped altogether. In this video, we're going to look back at a few Roblox creators, where they started, how they became popular, why their presence on YouTube changed, and what we know about what they're doing now. If you enjoy longer, documentary-style Roblox videos, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Let's start with the first creator. Olex first created his YouTube channel in 2020, and his earliest videos were much more practical than flashy, focusing on Roblox tutorials, gameplay tips, and performance-related content like improving FPS, which helped him pick up early traction at a time when Roblox was growing rapidly, and search-based videos were performing well. For a while, his channel grew steadily but quietly, until everything changed in 2022 when the Roblox game Please Donate exploded in popularity. Olix shifted heavily toward that game, uploading videos built around donations, Robux-related challenges, collaborations, and large public servers, and that decision paid off almost immediately. His view counts jumped into the millions, his subscriber count climbed fast, and within a relatively short period of time he became one of the most recognizable creators associated with that era of Roblox. He wasn't just uploading consistently, he was everywhere, appearing alongside other major creators, showing up in popular servers, and becoming a familiar name even to people who didn't regularly watch Roblox content. What makes Olix's situation stand out though is how abruptly that momentum stopped. At the height of his popularity, uploads on his main channel slowed and then stopped entirely without a goodbye video, pinned post, or clear explanation telling viewers what had changed. His last public uploads and streams are now well over a year old, which immediately led people to start asking questions, especially because there were no obvious signs of decline beforehand. Since then, most of what fans know about Olex hasn't come from YouTube itself, but from indirect places. According to people in his community, he's still active behind the scenes, particularly in his members-only Discord, where he occasionally talks with friends and supporters and has hinted at future ideas without committing to anything publicly. Some viewers have also pointed out that Olex mentioned his age in past videos, which has led to a common theory that YouTube may have been something he focused on during a specific period of his life, and that he later chose to step away to prioritize real-world commitments, including college. That idea lines up with what we can actually observe. Olex hasn't vanished from the internet completely, but he's clearly chosen not to maintain a public YouTube presence anymore, at least for now. Rather than a slow decline or a public exit, his disappearance feels like a deliberate decision to step back quietly, leaving fans to piece together what little information is available and wonder whether a return will ever happen. After looking at Olix's story, where a creator found huge success and then chose to step back, it's interesting to compare that with someone who built one of the biggest channels in Roblox history and went through several major phases before quietly shifting his focus. That creator is Denis. Denis began uploading to YouTube in early 2016, at a time when Roblox content was far simpler and far less competitive than it is today. And from the start, his videos focused on straightforward gameplay, humor, and playing games with friends rather than heavy editing or high-concept ideas. His earliest Roblox uploads were things like prison life, obbies, tycoons, and casual challenge videos, and what made them work wasn't the games themselves, but Denis's personality. He came across as approachable, energetic, and easy to watch, especially for a younger audience. Not long after starting his channel, Denis became part of a collaborative friend group known as the Pals, alongside creators like Coral, Sub, Sketch, and others, and that group ended up becoming one of the most influential collectives in Roblox YouTube history. The Pals uploaded constantly, appeared in each other's videos, and built a shared audience that pushed all of their channels forward at the same time, creating a feedback loop where every upload fed into the next. By 2016 and 2017, Denis's channel was growing at an incredible pace, with videos regularly pulling in hundreds of thousands and then millions of views. And by that point, it was clear that people weren't just watching for Roblox, they were watching for Denis himself. That became even more obvious as his content expanded beyond simple gameplay, with recurring characters like Sir Meows a Lot, animated segments, and even standalone animation videos that performed just as well as his regular uploads. During this period, Denis completely dominated Roblox YouTube, becoming the most subscribed Roblox creator on the platform and passing milestones that very few others ever reached, including millions of subscribers and billions of total views. His channel felt unavoidable, especially between 2017 and 2019, when Roblox YouTube as a whole was exploding and Denis was at the center of it. But after years of near constant uploading, things slowly began to change. Around 2020, Denis started taking longer breaks between videos and openly talked about feeling burned out, explaining that turning YouTube into a full-time job had taken some of the enjoyment out of it. He briefly stepped away from Roblox content altogether, uploading a video titled "Goodbye Roblox," and experimented more with Minecraft and variety content, showing that he was trying to figure out what he actually wanted to make rather than just repeating what worked. While his view counts remained strong, they were no longer at the same level as his Roblox peak, and over time uploads became less frequent. In the following years, Denis began shifting more of his energy behind the scenes, focusing on Roblox game development instead of constant videos, working on projects like Bow Battle Arena and Prison Run, which went on to receive tens of millions of visits. His most recent YouTube upload came in late 2023, where he talked about entering a new chapter and focusing on things outside of regular content creation. Even though Denis has largely stepped away from YouTube, he hasn't disappeared entirely. His games remain active, his legacy is still referenced constantly, and his influence on Roblox YouTube is hard to overstate. Rather than a sudden disappearance, Denis's story feels like someone who reached the absolute peak of a platform, stayed there for years, and then slowly chose to move on once that chapter of his life no longer felt sustainable. But not every disappearance on this list looks like that. Some don't come from burnout alone, or a quiet shift in priorities, and one of the hardest examples to look back on is Tofuu. Tofuu was once one of the most recognizable faces on Roblox YouTube, and his rise followed a pattern that only a handful of creators ever managed to pull off, standing out instantly while still feeling everywhere at once. Long before his disappearance, he built an identity that was impossible to confuse with anyone else. His rainbow shaggy hair and chef hat became as much a brand as his channel name, to the point where seeing that avatar in a game server or thumbnail immediately told viewers who they were watching. Much like Denis had Sir Meows a lot, Tofuu had a look that anchored his personality and made him feel larger than just another gameplay YouTuber. His content leaned heavily into spectacle, big number simulators, over-the-top Robux spending, loud reactions, and fast pacing that fit perfectly into the late 2000s Roblox YouTube boom. During that era, consistency mattered more than polish, and Tofuu uploaded relentlessly, staying relevant through sheer presence. For a long time, it worked. His channel grew into the millions, collaborations became routine, and he felt like a permanent fixture of Roblox YouTube, rather than someone chasing trends. But after years of that pressure, the cracks began to show. Uploads slowed, then stopped, without any real explanation or formal goodbye, leaving fans confused rather than prepared. Around the same time, his involvement in a highly public personal situation involving Russo plays became impossible to separate from his online reputation. While Tofuu did eventually acknowledge and apologize for his role in that situation, many viewers see it as the moment where his relationship with the Roblox community fundamentally changed. Instead of returning with a clear direction, his presence shifted almost entirely to Twitter, where his behavior over the years has raised growing concern. His tweets often revisit old conflicts, reference Russo directly, or come across as impulsive and emotionally charged, creating the impression of someone unable to move on from a moment that reshaped his career. Because of that, the theories surrounding where Tofuu is today are very different from those attached to creators like Denis or Olex. Most people don't believe he quietly retired, went back to school, or found peace behind the scenes. Instead, the prevailing view is that he never fully stepped away at all. His Twitter activity offers a partial answer, not a clean explanation, but a visible continuation of the same unresolved spiral. Unlike other missing creators who simply vanish, Tofuu's absence from Roblox YouTube feels ongoing rather than finished, defined less by silence and more by the uncomfortable reality of watching someone who once dominated the platform struggle publicly long after the spotlight faded. Tofuu's story is difficult because it doesn't really end. It lingers. There's no clear resolution, no moment where things quietly settled, just a creator whose public presence never fully disappeared, even after the audience moved on. And that's what makes the next case so different. Because not every creator who vanishes does so in chaos or controversy. Some disappear quietly, take time away, and eventually come back with answers. And one of the clearest examples of that is RealRosesAreRed, who most people know as Tori, is one of those Roblox creators who felt like she was always just there. She wasn't someone who exploded overnight or rode one specific trend. She built her channel gradually over years, starting way back in the early 2000s, when Roblox YouTube was a very different place. Her videos leaned into funny moments, light trolling, roleplay scenarios, and social games like Royale High and Doors, and a lot of her appeal came from how natural everything felt. It never seemed overly produced or forced. It felt like watching someone genuinely enjoy the game and the people around her. Over time, that consistency turned into real growth. By the late 2000s, Tori had become a staple of Roblox YouTube, eventually passing 1 million subscribers and pulling millions of views across some of her most popular uploads. For a lot of viewers, especially those who grew up watching Roblox content, her channel was something familiar, something you check in on every now and then and expect to still be there. That's why, when her uploads started slowing down, people noticed immediately. At first, it didn't seem like a big deal. Plenty of creators take short breaks, but as the gaps got longer and the channel stayed quiet, the questions started piling up. There was no big controversy, no exposed messages, no dramatic goodbye, just silence. And when there's silence on the internet, people fill it with theories. Some fans thought she'd simply grown out of Roblox. Others assumed real life had taken priority, maybe work or school. A lot of longtime viewers suspected burnout, especially considering how long she'd been creating content for a platform with a very young audience. Without any real explanation, all of those ideas just sat there for years, unanswered. That's what made her absence feel so strange. Not alarming, just unresolved. And then, much later, Tori returned. Not with a dramatic comeback video, but through live streams where she actually talked to her audience and explained what had been going on. She opened up about burnout in a very real way, about mental health struggles, financial stress, and being stuck in toxic personal situations that made continuing content creation feel overwhelming rather than fun. She didn't frame it as some grand disappearance or mystery, or it came across more like someone admitting that life got heavy and she didn't know how to keep going at the time. What stood out was that she wasn't defensive or vague. She answered questions, talked openly with chat, and explained that stepping away wasn't about abandoning her audience, but about surviving a period where everything felt like too much. She also made it clear that she wants to stay active now, as long as she can do it in a way that's healthier for her, leaning into interactive streams and rebuilding that connection with her community rather than chasing numbers. And that's what makes Tori's story different from most creators on this list. For a long time, people genuinely didn't know what happened to her, but now, we do. There wasn't a scandal or a collapse behind the scenes. It was burnout, pressure, and real life catching up, and a creator who needed time before she could explain it herself. But not every creator who steps away gets the chance to come back and explain it. Some simply stop uploading, leaving their channels and their audiences behind without a clear answer. BlueBug's channel is interesting because you can actually see his entire evolution just by looking at his oldest and most popular uploads. He started out around 2017 to 2018, uploading very straightforward Roblox gameplay videos, especially focused on flood escape, 2 map tests, obstacle runs, and challenge-style gameplay. These early videos were simple, unedited, and clearly made by someone who just enjoyed the game and wanted to share it. No flashy thumbnails, no exaggerated titles, just gameplay. Over time, though, his content shifted alongside Roblox itself. As games like Piggy and Murder Mystery 2 exploded in popularity, BlueBug adapted, moving away from raw gameplay and into funny moments and meme-style edits, which is where his channel really took off. His Piggy and MM2 Funny Moments videos consistently pulled hundreds of thousands to over 1 million views, and several of them became staples of Roblox YouTube during that era, especially around 2019 and 2020. What stood out about his videos was how natural they felt. The humor wasn't forced, the edits weren't overdone, and the clips felt like moments anyone could recognize from actually playing Roblox with friends. Because of that, his channel became very familiar to a lot of viewers, even if they weren't subscribed. His videos showed up everywhere. Then, without any clear announcement or turning point, his upload slowed down and eventually stopped. There wasn't a final video explaining a break, no shift into another genre, and no obvious reason you could point to just by looking at the channel. That's what made people start wondering where he went. Some fans think he simply outgrew content creation, especially since his channel shows the path of someone who started young and gradually moved on as life changed. Others believe he may have lost interest in uploading regularly once Roblox Funny Moments became more competitive and time-consuming to produce. There's also the idea that he never really left Roblox itself, but just stopped wanting the pressure of being a public creator, choosing instead to play privately or focus on things outside YouTube. BlueBug's disappearance doesn't feel dramatic or unresolved in a worrying way. It feels realistic. His name still comes up when people talk about missing Roblox YouTubers, not because of controversy, but because his content was once everywhere, and then suddenly it wasn't. At the end of the day, these creators didn't all disappear for the same reason. Some moved on, some needed a break, and others just stepped away quietly over time. It's a reminder of how fast things change on Roblox, and how even familiar creators can fade out. If you enjoyed this documentary-style video, consider subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. And if there are any Roblox YouTubers you remember watching who suddenly stopped uploading, leave a comment. I'd love to hear which one stood out to you.